Good morning from the campus of the United States Sports Academy. It's the Academy Sports Talk, a weekly broadcast through the courtesy of the Communications Department and the Executive Branch of the United States Sports Academy. I'm Dr. Arthur Ogden. I serve as the moderator, and today's panel consists of Dr. Steve Butler, who is our Dean of Academic Affairs, and Dr. Fred Cromartie, our Director of Doctoral Studies. Everyone pretty much now knows that last Friday night in Marble Falls, Texas became the center of high school football. Two ball players on the Marble Falls team. It was the John Jay's team decided they were going to take out their frustrations on an official. And toward the end of the game, when obviously the game was out of hand, these two players put a couple of hits on this official, and the investigation is still taking place. Players were ejected from the game. They've been suspended from school, and of course they've incurred the wrath of every officials union from the NFL all the way down to the Texas state officials. Now, we don't know all the circumstances. They're still investigating it. There are charges that some people made some racial comments, but it's really a strange situation, a situation that prompts a lot of questions. And as all of you who really care about sport are aware, anytime something negative that happens like this with sport, in particular football, the mainline broadcasters, CBS, NBC, and ABC, are going to jump on the bandwagons. So we had that on Good Morning America this morning. Yep. And it was
ESPN, Merrill Hodge talked about it at Atlanta.
They'll probably get on MSNBC too, because it's a hot item. They're all going to jump onto it. Fred, what are we to make of this?
Well, it's just another incident in a long line of incidences that have transpired against sport officials, regardless of how people feel. You know, sport officials are human beings. They are capable of making mistakes, and they've made some mistakes. But one of the things is that because they make mistakes does not give individuals a right to go out there and to confront these people and to create bodily harm against some of these officials, which is one of the reasons why we have the National Association for Sport Officials, because this has been going on for a good number of years. There have been sport officials that have been killed because they're out there trying to facilitate these adults and children in the process of having a friendly game. That's what it's supposed to be.
Here in this country, they've been killed?
Yes. No, they've been killed in the United States. And players, people have gone to jail because they have beat officials to death.
I did not know.
Over a game.
I bet they didn't make any more bad calls after that, huh?
Well, I'm sure they didn't.
I wonder, we reflect so much on the players and the violence in the games and everything, but as I recall, when Woody Hayes slugged that Clemson linebacker on national TV, and everyone saw it, nothing happened to Woody Hayes.
Oh, yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
He was fired.
No, he stepped down. He was forced to, but no other recriminations.
I think what
So why not now when everyone is saying, well, we're going to charge these kids with assault. Why wasn't Woody Hayes charged with assault?
Well, we're talking a period of time that has elapsed. There was, if Woody's situation would have happened today, Woody would have been charged.
Okay. How about in 2008, during the LSU Southern University of South Carolina game, a game official actually came up and tackled the quarterback for University of South Carolina. His excuse was, I just got picked up in the moment, and I'm sorry. They still counted it down as a loss. Nothing happened to that official. He's still officiating. Tell me how the officials' unions police themselves with respect to things like that. This was in October 2008.
Yeah, one of the problems is that nobody holds the official accountable. I agree with Dr. Camardi. Officials make mistakes and they're human. But if you look at pro sports, look at Major League Baseball, for example. Those guys are horrible. They get away with making horrible calls all the time. And when, I'm not saying that. I watched the replay a few times, and I think the guy just got in the way. I think they were going to the ball, and the referee they hit the referee accidentally, but that's just my opinion.
In Texas, in Texas.
No, that's tough.
No, they went after him.
That's
Everybody knows they went after him.
And throughout the history of sports, they've gone after officials. But what these kids did was they didn't even try to conceal it. There's been lots of cases where catchers call for a high fastball and get down to a low crouch, and the pitcher throws the ball over the catcher's head and rings up the home plate umpire. I've seen it happen in baseball games. So these guys just need to discuss it a little more. Now, when we talk about the racial slur that this guy allegedly made,
Supposedly.
Allegedly, just like they had a picture up there of the high school coach that allegedly told them that these officials need to pay for these bad calls. So that the kids, the big thing on Good Morning America Day was, well, was it paying for the bad calls, or was it the racial slur, or was it a little bit of both? And the kids are saying it was the racial slur. And, of course, the coach has been suspended as well, who happened to be an African American, and that's probably totally irrelevant. But the whole thing kind of weaves this intricate pattern of officials being out of control, players being out of control, and like you said, how many high school games were played on Friday night last week?
1,000 maybe.
Thousands and thousands.
Yeah,
Probably 1,000 in Texas.
Yeah.
It's a big thing. But yet, and all the great things that happen in high school football games. How about the kid from Louisiana that died Saturday morning after getting hit Friday night? Why is this episode getting more attention than that? That would be my question.
Well, this episode is getting more attention because you got it on film. You got it on
The guy
film.
didn't do that. It was filmed on film too. But I think that the news media picks and chooses what they want to feature.
Well, there's no question about it. But again, when you say this alleged racial slur, the allegations of the coach said this to these kids and that, to me, that is all irrelevant. This kind of stuff has been going on for years.
Well, I know you keep saying that, but there's no substantiation of that.
There is substantiation to our own personal experiences.
If that were the case, then this would have been thrown up.
I can remember playing a high school game where not only did the players from the other team, but fans of theirs were using racial slurs, and it's like, hey, wait a minute, what's going on here? And the only thing people say is, just play the game. Shut up and play the game.
Oh, okay,
so what do you do? Okay, no problem. Now we
are.
are going to run them in the ground because we'll prove to them. And that's how you shut people up. You beat them.
Okay, right. Okay, so
But how do you shut
here's what I thought you meant.
You don't.
I thought you meant that the attacks on the officials were something that's been going on in Cessna, and you're talking about the racial epithets.
In sports as well, going after officials. The players saying things to players. The only thing is that you let your actions speak for you on that field.
But
some kid calls you out of your name, you get back up and you smack them legally. In basketball, you dunk on them, you shut them up, you don't run.
Fred, there's a big difference between players saying it and officials saying it. There is absolutely no excuse for an official making a racial comment to a player.
There's no excuse for anybody. Period. An official or a player, a coach, a parent.
But the officials have to be held to a higher standard. And another thing that you said, I would argue that there's a lot of 17-year-old kids out there, probably the vast majority of high school players, that if their coach makes a comment, even though the players know it right, know it's wrong, they're gonna. If their coach makes a comment, and this is a legend. We don't know the coach made this comment for sure, but the quote on TV was, "These officials have to pay for these bad calls." Now, how many high school kids do you go out there are gonna take that to heart and try to do what their coach wants them to do?
All it takes is one.
It's gonna
All it
take
takes is
literally.
one or the two that just did that.
Right.
If the officials are making horrible, inappropriate calls, there are means through the state athletic associations to deal with those situations too.
Okay. Now, maybe it was
Period.
because, maybe it was, and I think that what you say is true in intent. But I can give you several experiences when I coached in Kansas, high school and junior college ball. We had to have cards. We had to rate the officials afterwards, right? Nothing ever happened to officials that I specifically said, this is wrong. I'll show you the film. Don't ever want to see him on my field again. Give me somebody else. Sure enough, first game next year, he was out there. Nothing was done by the Kansas State High School Association.
But see,
Now, maybe that was the Kansas High School
Yes.
Association. But the point is, the public perception is officials are not held accountable to anyone. Now, we can say, yeah, and now they're all jumping on the bandwagon. These kids, what's this one quotation that absolutely sickened me? It says, the first thing we want is that these two kids never play football again. Come on, man. What are they doing with this kid's life? Okay, so he jumped somebody. So what? And these officials, first thing we want is these two kids never play football again. Wayne Elliott, Austin Football Officials Association Secretary. I think that's outrageous for him to make that kind of comment. I think that it's absolutely against the concept of trying to teach these kids something.
Hold on.
And so-
Wayne Elliott may know a little bit more from the Officials Association standpoint on that side.
Wayne Elliott
Like I said, it's not
Wayne
as
Elliott
if-
said this 1 hour after the
It doesn't matter when he said it. The fact of the matter is that he's got something behind him.
Yeah.
That
that's
allows-
something
What he has is these
organization.
lousy officials giving him a report, blaming it all on the kids.
Well,
Maybe
you know what?
what'll happen is these two kids slam this clown who made all these bad calls, and now they'll get his butt booted out of there.
Okay, and then
Where if they wouldn't have done that, nothing would have ever
then
happened.
where do we get to when you don't have officials that want to officiate games?
Fine, but there's always somebody who wants to officiate games.
Yeah.
And
They're not going broke for officiating. Well, like when you and I officiated, when we paid, what did we get, maybe $10 a game? Something like that.
This
When you were
one-
doing softball, what did you get, $5 or $10 a game? I know when I was doing basketball, I got $15 a game plus mileage.
But it's still all, when it comes to officiating, it's all about the training. You can't just put these people and say you're an official and let them go and expect them to do it. There has to be some professionalism, and it has to be instilled in these people each and every year.
Right. And
That's
I would
what's
say-
lacking in a lot of these. So if you want to hold the officials accountable, let's hold all of the participants within the athletic setting accountable. Period.
No, you
The
can't make
officials-
that, you cannot make that inductive link. Let me tell you, that's just crazy. Now, when I was an official, I had to go to not just one rules meeting during the league. I had to go to 5 rules meetings before the league play began, and then during the league, during the season, I had to go to 5 more. If you didn't go to those meetings, and we had
You
discussed
didn't
things,
officiate.
yeah, you didn't officiate,
Yeah.
and it was accountable, and we really, really had to work hard at it. And there was no problem at all for one official to, when you get inside, halftime or something, to call out another official to, hey, look, something's not right here. In fact, I said to one guy one time, I said, I was doing the Oklahoma JV game, and I said, something? Sure seems like Oklahoma State's spending a lot of time in the 3-second lane, because this one guy was calling it left and right, just anything. And he goes, well, they kind of camp in there. I said, well, I'll help you out with that. He said, you don't have to. The coach on the other team, the OU coach told me what to watch for. And I thought, holy cow. And that sounds to me just like what happened when Jimbo blew in the officials' ear last year during the FSU Notre Dame game.
And you make a good point about the training, but it's not these, if this official wasn't trained properly, it's not those two kids' fault. And this mindset we have in America that officials are untouchable is just nonsensical. Because officials,
In the spirit of the game, they are untouchable.
No,
There are
they destroyed it. They destroyed it.
There is no reason to put your hands on an official period. There are means to handle these kinds of things. The coaches could have called a timeout. And if we get back to this whole issue of an alleged saying or whatever, that's on the other officials too. There is no way that you can tell me with a crew of football officials out there that man was able to stand by himself and say something totally appropriate to children. It's just not possible. And the others should have gotten on to them.
Officials.
Those are bad officials, period.
Play by the same blue rules that cops do. They are never going to admit that their colleague is wrong, ever.
You're right.
No, that's not true.
And that's
That
where
is
we
not
are
true.
with officials.
Well,
I agree with you.
They got that fortress mentality.
That is not-
They're going
that
to
is-
bunker down.
Having been an official, that is not my experience. You
Well,
call them out, you tell them.
Having been an official, that has.
I told people I didn't want to work with guys time and time again because they put you in a bad situation.
Good.
And you tell them, no, I won't work with him.
Good. And what did they do? Did that guy
They
still
put him
get a chance? That guy get a chance to work on other games?
Nope. Couple of guys put him out of the league, and a couple of people did replace him elsewhere, but that's up to the district guys. I can't control that aspect of it, but I can certainly tell you I don't want to work with somebody because they don't do their job.
Good. As you can see, this is a very hot topic because 2 of the 3 of us here have officiated. Some of us had bad experiences officiating, some of us had good experiences officiating. This issue is not over yet, but in the final analysis, we believe that there are proper mechanisms in place to make sure that officials are accountable. Whether or not the officials associations are going to enforce them, we don't know yet. We certainly hope so.
Not
Thanks for
according to these
tuning in.
hooligans.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week for the Academy Sports Talk. Have a great day in sports.